Well, this Dracula movie has fallen under the radar. Dracula, directed by Luc Besson, I think I'm saying that right. Don't make fun of me, guys. Is the latest Dracula adaptation with a bit of a French and love epic twist to it. Apparently, this movie came out last year in Europe, but now it's finally getting released in the US this weekend. I've been seeing memes made from this movie, like clips of this movie, for months, and I've always wondered, what's this movie? I haven't seen this because I usually see every movie that a meme's made out of, but I finally realized, oh crap, this is the movie while watching this, and I'm glad it's finally out. I'm glad I saw it, and honestly, I gotta say, out of the great memes that's been made out of this film, this is a movie. Look, I really like Caleb Jones, and I'm finally glad to see him taking on a leading role. And I do think he's a solid Dracula. Like, I was worried about his accent in the trailer, but honestly, I was won over a couple minutes into it, and it was very convincing, for me at least. Now, is he the best Dracula, or like the best vampire person adaptation we've seen? No, definitely not, but he's very solid. This film was also very French. Makes sense, it's made by a French director, and it also takes place in Paris rather than London, and a lot of French actors were used, and there's many aspects of French culture that were prominent throughout this whole film. Honestly, I don't mind that. Like, I like a good twist to an original story, and a director who's from whatever country is like, I want to tell this story that's very London or a different country, and just do it in my own country with my own culture, which I'm always down for. I like that, and I honestly like that about this movie. Like, we've seen this movie or seen this story dozens of times, so I like seeing something new, someone try something new with it. However, Luc Besson, instead of focusing on these new aspects of French culture, a love epic, and kind of a war epic at parts, he doesn't really focus on that as much as he should. He kind of just steals ideas and concepts from other Dracula movies or Dracula-inspired movies. I mean, you could say he's honoring those movies, but I don't feel that at all. It felt like, yeah, he's just stealing this. He's not honoring it in any way. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Besson's movies, and the only one I kind of like is Leon the Professional. Well, I actually really do like that movie, so I like it a lot. But this movie's probably my second favorite movie of his so far. I probably got to rewatch a couple other movies, but that's not really saying much. Christopher Waltz is in this movie, playing Van Helsing, or he's just kind of named the priest. Yeah, that's another thing that Luc Besson did, was he kind of changed the names of everyone, and then also really changed on how they behaved, at least. It's been a while since I've seen the original movie or read the book. Waltz is impressive as always, but you can tell he's putting up a professional performance. And what I mean by professional performance is he doesn't want to be there, this is a paycheck to him, but he's going to do his job. And honestly, at the end, you could tell he's checked out. Like, the movie ends with him just walking away and not saying bye to anyone, checking on anyone, or really caring what just happened. And honestly, I felt like that's just Christopher Waltz. This is probably his last scene he shot for the film. He's like, I'm going to film Frankenstein now. Or if he didn't film that already, he was like, I'm moving on to my next project. This is not a movie I really, really wanted to do. That being said, I do think the acting from the whole cast is solid, from a cast that I don't really know. But there are unlikable characters, and that's mostly Luc Besson's failure as a director to connect the audience with them. This is mostly focused on Dracula and his dead lover, and the whole movie is just them. It's not like the original book or movies where it kind of just shows like Dracula being a bad person and he's kind of the side character or the villain. Dracula is kind of like the hero in this movie. Like, you're cheering for him. At least I was cheering for him to win and get his lover back. Like, that's how much I didn't care for the other characters, and that's how much Luc Besson focused on Dracula and him being kind of the hero. I saw a review saying how much they hated this movie for a lot of different reasons, but the main thing I'm going to disagree with them on is how they felt like this movie sexualized women for men, and I gotta disagree on that. A vampire movie is inherently sexual, and it shows how dangerous that path can be, and showing how Dracula uses sexual themes to get his victims or get people to fall in love with him or get people to do his biddings. And a lot of the themes of vampire movies or Dracula movies, or really Nosferatu that I picked up rewatching it recently, was the themes connecting to sexual frustration. So I'm against the idea that like people hating on a Dracula movie or vampire movie because it sexualizes women. Like, I would normally agree with you, but I just feel like that's the point. It's connecting to sexual frustration or other aspects of how people use sexual themes to control other people. Like, it's like the theme. So you're hating on the theme. And I was iffy with it. One thing I didn't like about this film is that the whole film kind of failed to understand the point of Dracula and his whole concept of him. It doesn't do a good job of showing how evil he is and how much he's turned on God and worked with the devil. It doesn't really mention the devil in this film. It kind of just like, God cursed me because I refused to live in his name. Which as a Christian, I didn't really like that. But it's something new. It's not like he made the deal with the devil, so I respect something new. But in the day is, I'm cheering for him to win. That should almost never be the case for Dracula. This film didn't really show or give me any reason to not think he's a good person. And honestly, I feel bad for him throughout the whole film, really. Like, I wanted him to get his lover. I couldn't care a toot for the hero, I guess, the main guy of Dracula. And honestly, because I was cheering for Dracula and wanting him to win, and I felt like he was honestly the hero of this film, and this might be a little spoiler, but I won't say any details, the ending isn't great because of this. His lost love isn't saved, and there's nothing that really happens that makes the wrongs right. It's like Luc Besson read the original story or watched the original movie and was just like, nah, all these points are stupid, these themes are dumb, and Dracula's right. But then in the very last second, he changed his mind. It was like, okay, we got to do like an original ending in a sense. So it just kind of felt rushed and also unsatisfying because the whole film, you're like, well, I want Dracula to win. I want him to get his love because that's true love. That's also a big theme, his lost love. Okay, I'll just say it's a spoiler. She's fully in love with him. He doesn't use any techniques to win her over. He plays a song from her past life, I guess, and wins her over, and she's all in on it, and there's not a single moment where she regrets it or wants to be with her husband. I'd rather Luc Besson stick with his guns and go ahead with the point he's trying to make, which I don't really know, but I felt like this ending would make sense at least if he just stuck with his guns and was like, I'm going to try something completely new with Dracula. I'm going to make him the hero. I'm going to make that his love was taken from him and God was wrong to take his wife or something like that. I would have been impressed with it because it would have been, okay, this is a completely new theme. But it just didn't really make sense in the end, honestly. Now, for the rest of the film, there were a lot of impressive shots, and I liked the snowy setting for the start. I also liked how the start of the show, Dracula and his lover's love, and like you felt that love between them and the sexual tension between them because it was young love in a sense, and a lot of young love is sexual stuff. Caleb Jones does a solid job as Dracula, and the rest of the cast does a good job, even though some of their characters are just straight up losers. Not badly written, just losers, and I think Luc Besson wanted you to dislike them because I ended up disliking them. I do have to say the pacing of this film is all over the place. And the CGI creatures that Dracula uses are a cool concept, but they look awful, cheap, and they honestly lose their fear factor. There was no fear from them, and I thought a creature that serves Dracula should be scary. Honestly, this film is just honestly a B movie. There are a lot of themes in it that are like, try to get up to an A movie, like a real standard great movie that's trying something epic, but it just, the B core of this is just showing too much throughout the whole film. Overall, if you're looking for another vampire movie to watch, there are better options, and this could have been a good option for you if Luc Besson stuck with his guns and tried something completely new with Dracula, which I think he went into this movie trying to do. I'm giving Dracula a 6 out of 10. So, what do you guys think of Dracula? Was my rating fair? Comment below your thoughts. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe and leave a like. Goodbye, y'all.